Kids, we're hanging out with Dr. Leon Eisen. This is a big deal. This guy is a venture capitalist. He knows business. He knows quantum physics. He knows how to take your business to the next level. Sure, he might be working with some big companies, but you out there might be working with a smaller company or might own a smaller company. Listen, watch what he has to say because it will add value. I promise you. Doctor, nice hanging out with you. Glad you're here.
Hi, Kenneth. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
This is a big deal, man, because you're obviously you're a big name in the industry, and man, I'm going to ask questions because it's just an honor for you to be here. I'm totally excited about this. So, if right off the bat, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and it's going to blow some people away. Go for it.
Okay, thank you very much. So, actually, I'm a physicist. I have PhD in quantum physics and did my postdoctoral research in quantum computers, and then I left this. I don't know why. I decided to move to the industry. By the way, you know why professor has usually very small salary? Because what professor does will be used in 50 years. So just take this 50 years and chop your salary. So you have very small salary. So I decided that I have to do something that I can, something tangible today. So I moved to the industry and spent a lot of time like engineering the industry. And finally, it was exactly in the middle of the crisis, 2008, 2009. I decided I don't know why exactly this time. Now I understand why. And I decided to become the founder. So I founded the company. And exactly in the middle of the crisis, I raised my first $1 million. Now I understand this is the best time to raise money in the middle of the crisis because nobody can and nobody can do it. And you can, if you can, you are a hero. So I became a hero in my community, I would say. So I raised $1 million and that's all. And for the next 3 years, I couldn't raise anything. I was in a, in the brink of bankruptcy, and I decided to find co-founder. By the way, my idea was to build the world's first FDA-cleared wearable medical monitor. Today, it's not a big deal, but that time, Fitbit just get out to the market with something like clips here. Nobody did think about medical device, wellness or something like this. So I decided to go medical. That is crazy. It was crazy that time. And I built it. So actually in 3 years, I decided to find a co-founder who can help me to raise money. And finally, I raised money by myself, but co-founder to help me to tune myself. So he was like a mentor. He had 3 exits and he helped me. So I also learned that it's very important to work with people who much better than you and know much more than you. And so I spent about 10 years like CEO of this company, brought this company to success, to the market. We started sales, we got the clearance. Then I sold my part and then I decided to continue like entrepreneur. So I built my own venture studio, invested in 4 companies there, built all infrastructure. But suddenly I understood I want to try something new. And I joined amazing company called Network VC from Silicon Valley. It's a syndicate fund. We have more than 250 I don't know how to say. We're lucky to have 250 amazing LPs, and they're happy to be our LPs. We invested in 55 startups. We have 3 exits. So I joined this amazing company like a venture capitalist. And also it's interesting, new experience from, I call dark side of the business. I was on another side now and another side of the table, and I like it very much because I started to meet with amazing entrepreneurs, and I understand them. So I talk to entrepreneurs on their language, so they don't have to to translate to me their business. But unfortunately, not a lot of people like me, what I saw in this industry. So I decided to start to help these startups. So actually, I cannot invest in this company. Maybe this company is not ready, but I can help this company to be ready because I see some potential in this company. So I joined Founder Institute. I joined GSD Venture Studio like a partner today. Gary Fowler, maybe you know him. And I start my mentorship as well. And it happened that I like the most to share my experience. And for young entrepreneurs, I do it totally for free. I like to help them. I have some cohort of 5 companies all the time for 3 months, 4 months, intensive coaching. But this is for our own day. This is for much more developed companies. And this is not for free, actually.
I'm sure it's not.
Yeah, right. So also I joined the World Business Angel Investment Forum. It's the biggest investment organization worldwide. We are affiliated with G20. We are presented in more than 100 countries, and most countries, developing countries, with their financial inclusions. This is our mantra. We help with financial inclusions. And also, I'm a fellow member of Royal Society of Medicine in UK. Maybe one of I don't know. I didn't see a lot of fellow members who are not actually physicians there. So so this is what I'm doing today.
Yeah. So you're a global venture capitalist with having a PhD in quantum physics. That gives you some credibility. You know how to. You're a smart dude. You've done well. There's no doubt.
I know how to think. I know how to think. I developed so-called quantum business thinking methodology. I'm writing the book about it, finishing already. And this is totally new methodology based on very old principles of quantum mechanics. So principles of our law. So think like nature. Think like nature and you will succeed.
I totally know what you mean by that. Hopefully that's not too heady for most of the people out there, because it's pretty technical, but I think you're doing a good job, as long as they can see through that accent. You're doing a good job of kind of helping business owners to understand really what to do to take it to the next level, their business to the next level. So you've seen a ton of businesses globally, et cetera, and you've seen it in Silicon Valley, et cetera, et cetera. So what would you say? I'm going to make a pointed question. What's the number one thing you see for a business or a business owner or an entrepreneur to really be successful? I know that's a hard question, but I'm going to ask that. What's the number one trait or number one strategy that you believe is essential for an entrepreneur?
Amazing questions. I think it's very difficult to talk about only thing.
I know, believe me, I know.
Yeah,
but I know
I
you're
would
smart,
say
so I
some
can throw out hard questions.
combination of consistency and flexibility,
or
adaptivity, you name it.
I understand. Okay, all right. I'm going to unravel that. So there's 2 things: consistency and then and flexibility. So flexibility / adaptability. So let's talk about consistency. Yeah. When you say consistency, what do you mean exactly?
I mean, you start from the end game. You start from the end, you go back, and you consistent go to this goal. So you have the goal, you see this goal, it's called vision.
Okay.
So you have target, you see this target, right? This is what we call vision and goal. And then you know how to get there. But there are 3 types of consistent movement to your goal. There is a rigid type. This is where people usually fail. I call it rigid consistency. When you have the goal and you have the plan, you stick with the plan, independent. If, I don't know, nuclear bomb could happen, somewhere, and you don't care about it. You have your path. This is good maybe 20 years ago, when world wasn't so dynamic. Today, in dynamic world, this This is usually for employees.
Mhm.
Such type of behavior is for employees. You got your employee, you got the task, you should do task. If you think step right, step left, manager will kill you. So, this is rigid consistency. But there
Okay.
is something like, I could say, more flexible or partially flexible consistency, where you have the goal. You go to this goal. For example, but on your way you have to change something. This is for manager, high level manager, for example. Okay, I have some goal, I have some vision, but I can go to this shop on my way to home. I'm not going home straight. I want to get into this shop on my way, okay, because I
Okay.
think it's good for me. This is how flexible. But for entrepreneur should be totally flexible at this and consistent. So if you make pivot, so you can change the goal. Actually, you're flexible with the goal. You're flexible with your roadmap, and you're flexible with your vision all together. And it depends on how things going. If it depends how you grow. If you see that it's not what you want and you slow down, you can pivot immediately. So you're consistent when you decide something, you redecide it, you
Mhm.
again consistent with what you decide again.
Mm.
And all the time you decide, you move this direction consistently until you fail or you understand it's a wrong direction. So you change it.
I understand. That totally makes sense, believe it or not. So what I would say, well, okay, let's use me as an example. So this company has been around, vastsolutionsgroup.com. We've been in existence since 1969. We were let's say a traditional finance investment company. 2006, I took over, and now we're a tax company that mainly does tax strategies for well-heeled entrepreneurs, usually real estate investors. So, as an example, are you saying my vision, my vision is to help the entrepreneur, solopreneur, when the marketplace does not help them, right? So I want to be consistent in front of that marketplace. Okay. I know it's impossible, but I say as a goal, I want to be able to help 25% of the market share of solopreneurs, right? Now, so I know I have to be consistent to be there every day in front of them, in front of our market, in front of our clients. So when you say consistency, is that in line with what you're saying, meaning be in front of them on an ongoing basis, as an example?
Exactly. But if you're going to change your audience or change your business, you will be same way consistent with this change as well.
So meaning, give me one example. Yeah, I need an example so I can understand. Maybe our audience will be able to understand as well.
For example, you are a startup, you are going to make the pivot, okay? So you tried something for 3 years and you understand you do not succeed. It's a wrong goal, wrong mission. I don't know.
Okay.
Mission, by the way, I suggest to keep. You can change goal, you can change roadmap, but keep the mission.
Keep the mission, yeah, because
Keep
you're
the
doing your
mission.
mission. Yeah, I understand.
Yes, exactly. But within this mission, what is it mission? It's most valuable thing you are doing today toward your goal. So you can keep the mission to do the same valuable thing. For example, you're going to help, I don't know, patients with cancer. You're going to develop new drugs for patients with cancer. So your mission to help patients with cancer. Your goal in 3 years to deliver this drug to the market and help, I don't know, 1 million patients. So to make 1 million doses of these. And so this is your goal. And in a couple of years, you understood that your formula is not right. You have to change something. You keep your mission, you're going to help your cancer patients, but you change your formula. You go to different factory. You change your algorithms. Maybe even you change your goal. Maybe you understand you cannot treat patients, I don't know, with one kind of cancer. You're going to treat patients with another kind of cancer because this formula is better for this. You can pivot on your way. But when you did this pivot, then you decided you cannot move immediately back in or change again. It's like, very good example for you, an audience, I think, much more understandable. Why government tax real estate if you're going to sell it within the first year? You're going to be taxed. So government like your consistency to own this real estate, right?
Yep, you're right.
That's the issue.
I get you. So then, and then the second element of it is flexibility at the same time. So, all right. So, can you give me an example of how you have helped one of your, I guess, portfolio companies or one of your advisory companies or maybe coaching clients to take it to the next level? So, meaning maybe someone, I'm making this up, maybe someone was, I don't know, bringing in $1 million a year, and now all of a sudden, because of you, they're bringing in $10 million. By the way, I know you're not trying to bring in clients, but can you provide an example of how you've added value in that regard?
Okay, so let me think. Very good question, actually. So if you take the company, so a company come to you and you talk to this company, you learn their materials, and you understand that this company cannot communicate in the right way with investors.
Okay.
So they do very well. They have very good, for example, they communicate revenue, and the revenue looks like this. But revenue is a lag indicator, right? I'm not like investor. I'm not interested in your revenue.
That's true. That people don't realize that, but you're right.
Yeah, and they come to me and put revenue on the top. Wow, we have $1 million of revenue this year, and they put somewhere in the corner IRR, because IRR is much less. For example, $500,000, and well, IRR is less. We did good revenue this year, so we show revenue, and this is a huge mistake, for example.
You're
and
right.
So yeah, but what I'm looking for, IRR looks like these, and the revenue like these. So I'm interested in IRR, not in revenue, because IRR it's a indicator about future. So this is example. So I take it and I teach company how to do it. I don't know if I answered your question, but this is what came to my mind.
What you're saying is don't look at the top end growth. What you've done, if you've helped some companies to understand IRR as an example, which is a better indicator of what's going on now, because I think you're right. Revenue is it's a lagging indicator. It's what happened before, whatever, 6 months, 10 years, whatever, before. Exactly. Yeah, and people don't realize that. I totally agree with that.
There is another interesting question. There is another interesting thing. For example, how to when a startup founder come to investor, start to talk about vision, mission. Okay, we asked to talk about vision, mission, all this bullshit. Yeah, and but because their vision tells me about how much money they need to fulfill their mission and vision. For example, if you come to me and say, I created a startup, I'm going to feed 1 billion people.
Yep.
No, it's not my business, because you will need $1 billion to do it. I will be diluted. I'm not going to put money in such mission. But this is only where I'm interested in mission, like a venture capitalist. Actually, I'm interested in number. If this startup comes to our committee, we're talking about numbers. Exactly. Revenue, margin growth, dynamics, payroll, all these. We are looking for numbers. We are not looking for some other stuff. And this is what I help startup to communicate correctly with investors, because I saw amazing company, great potential, and they don't know how to communicate, and they lose. Like everywhere, if you don't know how to communicate, you lose. So I developed so-called fundraising readiness score,
Mm,
and you
okay.
can find it on my LinkedIn. It's totally for free, and
By the way,
it's a
LinkedIn. Go over your LinkedIn real quick so people might want to refer to that.
yeah, Leon Eisen. Just write Leon Eisen, and it
And that's
appears.
spelled Leon Eisen.
Leoneisen. Leon
Got it.
Eisen.
And okay, thank you. Now
Yeah,
continue on. Go ahead.
yeah, and it's built from investor perspective. So it's 20 questions designed for four specific clusters. It's a market, branding, operations, device, business. So all these, and it's built specifically to give these founders some feeling what investors looking for, what they want actually. It's interesting. And my first scorecard was built just about some technical questions. What your revenue, what is your market, what is your niche? And I got 100 score from everybody. Every startup is the best on this. And then I start to talk to them. I see they cannot communicate it. So I change everything and build it from communication point of view. And it works much better. Now, I don't know who got to 60%.
Yeah. I totally get what you're saying. That's pretty funny, actually. So, wow. Okay, that's a big deal. By the way, people should go to your LinkedIn to see that, because I would think that can add some value. Even if they're not a big, big company, they could kind of start thinking how to add value to themselves, even as a solopreneur or as an entrepreneur, maybe with investors. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of change a little bit. By the way, we have about 15, 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I really appreciate your time, and for all the people who are out there, really appreciate it. So I know that you used to deal with, quantum computers, but I'm going to ask you for a few moments to talk about quantum computing. Only for a few moments. I know that's not your real thing, but it's my belief we've been in artificial intelligence since really 2018. We started in 2010, but we had our own model called Einstein 2018. My claim is, and I talk about it a lot, is that I believe artificial intelligence is going to quickly, or more quickly than it would have otherwise, lead to quantum computing. And I think quantum computing is a holy grail of computing, of software, et cetera, even though it's hardware. So can you really quickly give your thoughts on when quantum computing will be not mainstream, but when I can use quantum computing as an example, maybe through the internet, through quantum internet, et cetera?
It accelerates. It actually accelerates.
Mm-hmm.
Even 10 years ago, I thought that it will happen by 2050, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
I started in 2005, like a postdoctorate research, and we built laser cooling tools specifically to keep atoms in a ground state to get it's some basic of quantum computer, So
Totally. Yep.
yeah, and then I just stopped. I lost any interest to this because I moved to industry, because I didn't see that it will happen very soon, and I like tangible things.
I would have done that if I were you too.
And
but yeah.
Today I get back to this interest to this stuff, and even I developed so-called quantum business thinking methodology, as we talk about it. And this was inspired by development of quantum computers, because it's based on quantum physics. So these laws start work for us. I think maybe 15, 20 years, we will be able to connect to quantum computer and solve our problems much more easier and quicker than we have today. The question how to communicate our interfaces and computers at home with quantum computer. And this is the interesting subject that people try to solve.
I understand. I know that, just a while back there was some, a group in Germany made it. So basically, well, real quickly, hopefully I'm not going to lose the audience here, but the issue with quantum computing over the internet is that the electronic fibers, as of today, they're having an issue with quantum computing atoms going through that's all around the world versus the current internet. Now there's a group out of Germany that just made it so it kind of tricked quantum computing atoms to be able to think, well, wait a minute, this actually, I would be able to go through the electrical impulses that exist today. And I think that goes a long way into bringing quantum computing or quantum internet to today. Now, when I say today, I think instead of it being occurring in 15 years, I think maybe now, who knows, it would be 5 to 7 or maybe 10 years. So that's going a long way to helping us towards quantum computing a little bit earlier. But anyway, I'm glad I asked you that, because you're obviously one of them. You know more about quantum computing than obviously most of the public out there. So, okay, so thank you very much for that. Now, that being number one, now I'm going to ask another question about your method of quantum, quantum business, I guess. So what are some other ways that quantum business can be helpful towards, or the thought or the strategy towards helping an entrepreneur, let's say a solopreneur, maybe even investing in real estate or running a real estate brokerage?
Very interesting question. For example, there is one of the maybe biggest CRM company in our world. They were on with the problem of so they almost died because they couldn't keep up with growth.
Mm.
And for example, their customer success was lagging so much that they start to lose their clients. So their retention rate became almost zero. So
okay, that's bad. Turnover is really bad.
That's bad. So why happened? Because they didn't have time to follow their growth. They grew too much, and
that is a possibility. People don't realize that.
Now we call it, exponential growth. So any startup could grow, I don't know, exponentially or like this, but in any case, it goes not exactly like this. It goes with some curves. Why curve happened? Because this lagging. So when you grow, your operations are not optimized. Also for solopreneur, they use some tools and they just get out of the order. They cannot keep order with these tools all the time. So something lagging. I didn't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. And then this, like, I call it management arrow propagation. So all the time it's grow like, like avalanche. And it's a normal business. What is it? Quantum growth. Quantum growth happening. This is what I developed in my book. Happened by layers. You get to this layer, and all the 5 elements or categories of your business you put on this level. I'm talking about
dude, that's smart.
I'm talking about marketing. I'm talking about viability or business model, or I don't know, financial stuff. I'm talking about product. I'm talking about culture of the company, if this is a company. So all these categories and customer development as well. So all these categories should be brought to the same level. So you stop grow somewhere. From another side, you should keep momentum. But if you keep momentum for the sake of all other stuff, you will drop very quickly. As quicker you grow, as much painful will be your failure.
You're exactly right. So what you're saying is manageable, what I call manageable scale. Instead of going up like this because you'll lose a bunch of clients, you step up and make everything manageable.
You can grow exponentially as well, but it's not like curve around some average exponent, but like layers exponentially, like this. And this works amazingly. I tried with several startups, and this I call quantum growth.
Now, manageable scale would be the analogy, in my opinion. I totally get it. So, what's one of the things, as an example, one of the strategies that allows for manageable scale? I assume having good systems in place. That's what I would say. Would you
Exactly.
say that's the case?
Yes, exactly. You have to build framework of your growth. Everything starts from the strategy. Without strategy, you don't see your target. So you start from the framework, you build milestones. But actually, I'm adept of so-called backward mapping.
I
So
don't
you
know what that
start.
means. Explain. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
understand.
This is amazing tool, and I really suggest using this. You start from the end point. For example, in 3 years, you want to have, I don't know, $100 million in
Okay.
your case, and now you go back. How much money? But it's not about money actually. But it's example. I never put goal as a money. It's wrong. But as
Yeah.
example, I can use it because it's easy to understand. So I have your goal to have 100 million. Then in 3 years, quarter before these 3 years happening, and 2 years and 3 quarter, you have 90 million, and so on. So 90, 80, 70, 60. And at every point, you decide what you need to have this point.
Yeah.
So you go back. What advantage of this method? You know exactly how to move. It's like, ways calculate your path from the end point back.
Yeah.
Because if you calculate back, if you have some traffic jam, you can avoid it. Okay,
You can go
but
around it.
if you go from this point toward the future, if something you can go to wrong direction, for example, it's very difficult to get to the target. If you started from the target, you build your path back and you understand exactly what you need at each point to get to the next stage.
That, dude, I totally get. That's brilliant. I totally get that because if because it doesn't matter if you've been able to scale up. I mean, when you're bringing in revenue, if you can't support it, you're going to lose the business. You're going to get a bad reputation. People aren't going to use your whatever software. They're not going to use your service, and then it's going to go south for you. And then where you? It's like you're at the beginning point. Basically, I
Yeah.
think that's how I'm interpreting what you're saying. Basically. Wow. Some of these concepts. So tell us a little bit about your book and then let's get ready to, land this plane. Tell us a little bit about your book because you've talked about some very, very smart ideas to taking a business to the next level. Tell us a little bit about your book and then we'll sign off.
I didn't finish. Actually, I procrastinate for 2 years already about it, and it's quite difficult because I'm very busy. So it's very difficult to find time to write it, and I try to write it without ChatGPT because I still get some bullshit from there. Maybe because I don't know how to write prompts correctly. Uh, so and it's a new. ChatGPT cannot find it in the internet, so give me some bullshit.
Yeah.
And so I have to enrich ChatGPT with my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it takes time. I'm going to finish this fall, and then to start to distribute it. So it's all about. It's called quantum business. It's actually called Fundables. This book called Fundables, and so how quantum nature helps people succeed
In their business. I understand. Just like you
yeah.
said earlier. Okay. Wow. All right. So, man, I know you're not really looking for clients, but if someone wants the information about which we spoke about earlier, go to your LinkedIn. It's Leon Eisen, IESEN, or sorry, EISEN.
Yeah.
And then people will be able to look at your LinkedIn, learn a little bit about you, get some of the resources that you have in your LinkedIn. Man, this has been a huge. I'm so glad you were here. I think that if people can understand and shoot through the accent, they're really going to understand you have some good value. The things you've talked about here, I'm sure you have some
Yeah.
other content out there.
My accent is a problem. I couldn't remove it. I left Moscow 30 years ago.
Oh no, really?
30. And my kids speak English like this is their nature, native language. But for me, still,
Well,
I speak well, but it's impossible to remove.
I know, but I love speaking to you. This has been fun for me. And for all those people out there, this is, once again, this is Kenneth Frencham with Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs, and totally it's sponsored by vastsolutionsgroup.com. It's been a pleasure having you, Doctor, on the show. For all those people who are watching, listening, please take advantage. Go to his LinkedIn. I think you'll learn there's going to be some resources there that are going to help you. And also, thank you so much for spending time with us, because I know you could be watching ESPN or Netflix or whatever. So really appreciate you guys all spending time here. Once again, this is Kenneth French signing off.
Yeah, thank you, Kenneth. Great to meet you here. Thanks.